Hello! Welcome to another gear tutorial. Today we're going to continue on our sleep system and we're going to talk about a sleeping bag liner. We're going to talk about why we would want one and when we go shopping, which one we should be looking for. When it comes to sleeping bag liners, they pretty much serve two purposes and two purposes only. One, they keep your sleeping bag clean. So every single night when you get into your sleeping bag, instead of your dirty, filthy, sandy, grimy body, stinky, sweaty body getting into your sleeping bag, it can get into a sleeping bag liner that then gets into your sleeping bag. This matters when it comes to washing your sleeping bag. If you want to extend the life of your sleeping bag, which you should because they're going to be expensive and it's your most important item, I would say your sleeping bag, you want to extend that life. And if you want to extend the sleeping bag's life, then you need to try to not wash it a lot, because when you wash it, the down or the synthetic fibers tend to clump up and pull apart, and when they do that, they create cold spots in your sleeping bag. All right, and I mean those clumps in the down, they can loosen up and work itself out a little bit, but for the most part, every time you wash it, you are going to create cold spots and you're going to reduce the life of that sleeping bag. So you want to try to minimize how often you wash your sleeping bag, and a sleeping bag liner helps you with that. The second purpose of a sleeping bag liner is warmth. They are known to add 5, 10, 15, 20 degrees of warmth. So if you're a cold sleeper, that's a really big deal. And even if you're not a cold sleeper, I still think it's worth carrying a sleeping bag liner. I mean, you have your necessary items that you have to have, like your sleeping bag and your backpack. And then you have the items that are not necessary, but they definitely make a huge difference, therefore they're highly recommended, and a sleeping bag liner I find is one of those highly recommended items. So they serve two purposes: keep your bag clean and provide extra warmth. Now there are two kinds of sleeping bag liners for the most part. You have silk liners, or a very light synthetic fiber of some sort. These will add 5 degrees, 10 degrees. I mean, I find that these liners are very generous in what they're telling you they're adding. I've never slept in a silk liner and thought, wow, I was so much warmer last night. That's never gone through my mind. I think a silk liner is awesome for keeping your sleeping bag clean. I don't necessarily think a silk liner is good for keeping you warm. If you want to stay warm, you really need to look at fleece liners. Now, I have a fleece liner. It's by Sea Summit. It's the Thermalite fleece liner. It's the I think it's the Reactor fleece liner. It is the warmest sleeping bag liner Sea Summit offers, and it offers they say that it increases your warmth by a full season. Now that is a very, very big claim, and it's the first liner I've ever slept in that I can say, I think it's true. I think it takes your sleeping bag up, your sleeping system up a season. So I am a huge advocate of Sea Summit's Thermalite fleece liner. Now they're gonna have some other liners, Sea Summit Thermalite, that line. They're gonna have some other liners that are gonna be like Reactor Extreme, and they're gonna say they, offer substantial warmth increases, and that might be true. But like I said, I've never slept in a liner that was anything other than fleece and thought, wow, it made a really big difference. I think if you are after a sleeping bag liner that's actually going to add warmth and noticeable warmth, you need to be looking at fleece. Now, it's not going to compact down as much as those silk liners or those other polyester and synthetic liners. It's not going to pack down as small. But I mean, in the end, the fleece liner is not going to take up a lot of space anyways. It's never been a huge space issue for me. So if you're going to go shopping for a liner, I put it on the list. I highly recommend it. Know that you're looking at, you're serving two purposes. Keep your sleeping bag clean, keep your body warm. And then also you're looking at silk in really, really light fabrics, and then you're looking at fleece fabrics. I'm going to tell you that the fleece is where it's at if the warmth factor is what you're wanting. Real quick, how these, liners add warmth is going to come back down to the sleeping bag makeup. So, you have natural cold spots in your sleeping bag, right? The zipper is going to be a cold spot. Wherever your body is touching is going to be a cold spot. So the back side, maybe your head, maybe your feet, maybe if you're sprawled out, wherever you're compressing the sides of those sleeping bags is going to reduce that loft, and it's going to create cold spots. So the sleeping bag liner is just one more barrier between your body and those cold spots. As well as it's one more layer that traps in the warm air that your body is producing and creating a barrier for it not to escape. So I highly recommend a sleeping bag liner. I can't tell you when the last time I've hiked without one. And if you're gonna go shopping for one, go fleece, and I would recommend Sea to Summit's Thermalite fleece liner. It says it adds a season, and I believe it. I think I paid $85 for it. I just looked online. That's what they're still going for. Worth every penny. Cheers.